There is nothing more explosive than watching Bill Burr destroy political correctness on live TV.
I had no idea how difficult it was to be a white woman in the United States of America. Evidently, it's really difficult.
His comebacks are so on point, they leave people speechless or nervously laughing like they are about to get canceled too. So hold your breath, because here are 9 moments Bill Burr fearlessly called out the nonsense and left everyone in shock. Political correctness.
Goes, oh yeah, you know, I'm kind of liking Bernie Sanders. It's just like, who are you? You're an actor. Why would I listen to you?
Bill Burr absolutely roasted the idea of celebrities thinking they have serious influence over elections. The fact that an actor from some sitcom believes their opinion on who should lead the free world is so impactful is hilariously delusional. It is not that people cannot have opinions, but expecting regular folks to change their vote because a Hollywood star says so is so dumb and ridiculous.
I think it hurts the candidate.
Oh, you think it hurts them?
I think it hurts them to sit there and I just thought out here people got they're really smug and talked down to flyover states like they're a bunch of morons.
Right.
And I don't think I think it goes back to the candidate. I don't think you're helping them. I don't think anybody who's any sort of intelligent person, you know, decides who they're going to vote for.
Bill hit the nail on the head by talking about how smug some celebrities get. Political correctness has given them this weird confidence like they know better than the average person just because they have played a superhero or a medieval warlord in a movie.
I don't think anybody who's any sort of intelligent person, you know, decides who they're going to vote for because the guy who pretended to be a shogun, you know, in some movie told you to do it. We're talking about who should lead the free world.
Some of the strangest celebrity references I've ever heard.
Well, I watch sports. I always flip through and I see, you know, people with swords and I'm like, all right, that's in now, right?
Like him or not, you have to agree Bill was right here. The idea that some guy who once swung a sword in a movie now has the wisdom to guide national policy is peak absurdity. Not just that, he also dared to do the one thing most people are afraid to do, which is calling out white privileged women who try to play the victim. White privilege.
I had no idea how difficult it was to be a white woman in the United States of America. Evidently, it's really difficult. Yeah, they're always bitching. Do you have any idea what it's like to be me? Well, I imagine it would be slightly less awesome than my life.
Bill Burr's rant here is not just about complaining, it is about hypocrisy and the way privileged conversations get twisted.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But I think white women started it. No, it's unreal. I'm really fucking annoyed how white women have the fucking balls to throw my white privilege in my face.
In today's culture, privilege is a hot topic, and rightly so. But what Burr pointed out is how some upper-class, comfortable individuals still find a way to position themselves as the most oppressed.
It's going on. But I think white women started it.
Take Hollywood, for example. You will see celebrities worth millions talking about how hard their lives are, all while sitting in mansions, drinking $20 lattes and wearing designer clothes. Yes, struggles exist for everyone, but there is a clear difference between actual hardship and performative victimhood. After offending white, privileged women, Bill moved on to offend the feminists.
All those feminists are full of shit, because I'm going to tell you right now, someday, there's going to be the first woman president.
Feminism started as a fight for equality, but over time, a loud section of modern feminists has shifted the goalposts. Instead of pushing for true equality, some demand special treatment while still criticizing men for their so-called privilege. That's exactly what Burr made fun of. He proved his point by saying how ridiculous it might be to say we might have our first male first lady after having our first female president. If feminism is truly about equality, shouldn't he have the right to voice his opinions? But Burr predicted the double standard.
Feminists are on me. You shut the fuck up! You shut the fuck up! It is her time now! It is her time! She was elected!
That's not equality. That's role reversal with the same outdated rules. Burr criticized that true feminism should be about fairness, not shifting power in the opposite direction. If the goal is equality, then double standards and blind cheerleading have no place in the conversation.
The N-word should have been carpet bombed through that whole tape. He never said it once. And if you go back and listen to that tape, I'm telling you, go back and listen to it. Other than Instagram, he's pretty fucking liberal.
This happens all the time. Look at history books. How many times have we seen a polished, sanitized version of events? Slavery, colonization, and civil rights struggles are often watered down or framed in a way that makes certain people look better. That's exactly what Burr's wife was reacting to. Not just the big obvious racism, but the sneaky little details that shape the narrative. Burr shifted to selective outrage, using the Donald Sterling controversy as an example.
Dude, he didn't drop the N-word once. That's unbelievable for an 80-year-old white guy.
The Donald Sterling controversy. Society chooses when to be outraged, often reacting more to what's caught on tape than the actual issue. Sterling had a long history of racism, but people only cared when a recording leaked. This pattern is everywhere. Problems get ignored until they are too big to dismiss. Burr's comedy works because he exposes this hypocrisy. Here, he was not trying to be a professor, just calling out what was right in front of us. And that's why it hit so hard. Just like this other time, ignorance about guns.
I go, look, dude, I don't know anything about guns. They terrify me, but I'm worried about the zombies.
Burr admitted he knows nothing about guns, and instead of pretending, he just tells the guy straight up. And what does the guy do?
Dude's just like, you need a shotgun. You need a shotgun, man. It's got a good spread. It's easy to load, doesn't have a lot of working parts, got a good spread.
The guy launched into a full-on shotgun sales pitch, not about safety or responsible ownership, but about how you don't even have to aim, just blast everything in sight. That's what gets Burr, this idea that a gun is not just a tool, it is some magic wand that solves all your problems. And that's exactly how a lot of people in America see guns. More guns equal more safety is the mindset, even though plenty of evidence says otherwise. They believe what they have been told, no questions asked. This kind of blind belief is not just about guns, it's everywhere. People don't just stick to what they have been taught, they also act shocked when others do exactly what you would expect them to do. There is no better example of this than the Duck Dynasty guy. Selective outrage.
These people are right, and I'm not saying that I'm right. I know I'm a fucking moron, you know? But that Duck Dynasty guy, I know what he said was wrong, but I don't get the shock.
No one really thought this man, a guy who lives in the woods, shoots animals for fun, and has a beard that could hide a small child, was going to be super progressive on social issues.
He said that homophobic stuff, and people are like, can you believe? Yeah, I totally can believe it.
This happens all the time. People idolize someone for being real, and then when that person says something offensive, everyone acts horrified, as if they didn't see it coming.
In Vegas, I would have put 90% of my on that he was going to say it.
It is a cycle. Reality TV stars, country singers, old school actors, they all get this treatment. When they are just doing their thing, people love them for being authentic. But the moment that authenticity includes something offensive, you get fake outrage, cancellation, headlines, and repeat. But Burr did not defend what the guy said.
Shock some redneck with a beard down to his, sitting in a boat in the middle of a swamp, shooting varmints. Like, what did you think he thought? Did you think he had like some progressive ideas on same-sex marriage?
He called out the hypocrisy. The outrage is mostly not to change anything for the people's need to feel morally superior. If people were really concerned, they wouldn't just be mad when a recording gets leaked. They would be mad all the time because that mindset didn't suddenly appear in that one interview. It was there the whole time. And then, almost effortlessly, Burr transitioned into religion because at the end of the day, a lot of these mindsets come from the same place. Blind faith.
I think all of that shit comes from the church. They just brainwash you.
He compared it to filling an empty brain like a jelly donut. You walk into church, you are young, you don't know anything, and before you even get a chance to think for yourself, they just start loading your head with ideas. This is what happens in a lot of strict religious communities. Kids don't question anything because they are not given the space to. These places reward you for repeating their words, which are stickers, praise, approval. All things that make you feel good but don't actually mean you have thought critically about any of it. And that's where everything ties together. The gun guy, the fake outrage, the religious brainwashing, it is all people just repeating what they have been told without thinking too hard about whether it actually makes sense. Burr's comedy works because he does not sugarcoat any of it. And that's why it is funny, because we all know it is true. This other time, Bill absolutely destroyed Howie Mandel in the most Bill Burr way possible with pure, unfiltered honesty, confronting Howie Mandel.
People want to know, were you really pissed?
Listen, I don't like talk about
Your stuff?
Yeah, I don't. And so like Howie did what he did.
Yeah.
Because he is a Hollywood and he doesn't care what happens, that he just didn't.
Okay.
Bill did not go over the top, he did not scream, but his sarcasm and brutal directness make it clear that he was not happy with what Howie did. The whole thing started because Howie Mandel put Bill in an uncomfortable situation during an interview with Billy Corgan.
It's not about talent, Howie. We know you have talent.
I know.
I've seen the glove on your head. I know that you're a triple threat. It's, do I want to be around this person?
Burr does not even like talking about his own personal life, let alone getting roped into nonsense he does not sign up for. So when Rich Eisen brought it up, Burr did not hold back. He did not explode, he did not throw a tantrum, he just laid out exactly why Howie's move was out of line.
And has been in the entertainment industry for a very long time, forever. He still tries very hard to insert himself in the most random podcast and online moments of all time.
That right there is classic Burr. He basically said Howie Mandel was the kind of guy who would stir up drama just because he could, without any concern for the fallout. But what really made Burr's response a total takedown was the way he framed Howie as harmless and ridiculous. Instead of going on a long rant, he reduced Howie to a cartoon character, a nervous, germophobic, non-threatening guy who just bounces around like a clueless weirdo.
Me a day on a
You would have been so f***ing insulted. That would have been a 3-day shoot, just getting through your mood that you didn't have any lines.
I don't need lines. I just want to be part of it. I want to be invited to the party. But no, you don't invite me to the party.
That's next-level sarcasm right there. Burr did not need to call Howie a bad person. He just made him look so absurd that it was impossible to take him seriously. And that was way more effective than just insulting him outright. Now, if you think that was explosive, look at what Bill said on Joe Rogan's show. Extreme ideologies.
Really look at their agenda. When they say the future is feminine, that's not inclusive. And they're all about, oh, make this more inclusive. It's like, no, let us in so we can take it over and then we'll push you.
Bill Burr's take here was about how extreme ideologies, even those that claim to be about inclusion, can become just as controlling as the systems they claim to fight against. He called out the people at the top, the ones pushing the most aggressive narratives, who are not actually fighting for equality but for power.
Of shit, but like people who are spearheading stuff,
yes,
like those people are wired the same way. Like, you know, I mean,
a dominator is.
We see this all the time in modern activism. It starts with a good idea like equality, fairness, and representation, but somewhere along the way it stops being about balance and turns into a fight for dominance.
Okay, this is why that whole thing is fucked up. Is how the corporate entities are so afraid that one fucking nickel is going to roll out the door, because all of this shit is you're just a paper tiger until you get the big behemoth to listen to you.
Not because they care, but because they are terrified of losing money. They come under public pressure and all they are trying to do is keep profits safe. This is not actually inclusive at all. True equality would be about making space for everyone, not replacing one dominant group with another. This also ties into cancel culture and ideological conformity. We have seen this play out over and over. A public figure makes a comment that even slightly deviates from the accepted narrative, and instead of a discussion, they are met with instant outrage, calls for boycotts, and demands for apologies.
But for some reason you can't, like, if you address that on any level, then you're part of the problem.
That's the hypocrisy of extreme political movements. They mirror the very things they claim to oppose. The people who once fought against oppression now use the same tactics, and Burr calls them out brutally with humor. That's what makes his take so powerful. He does not lecture, he does not whine. He just holds up a mirror and lets the absurdity speak for itself. But the cancel culture and the madness of political correctness have reached a point where you cannot even joke freely. Cancel culture.
Names, but I've seen, like, a tweet from a fellow comic telling comics what jokes you shouldn't talk about this topic. It's like,
the whole point of comedy is freedom of expression, pushing boundaries, and saying what others are afraid to say. But now some comics act like gatekeepers, telling others what they can and cannot joke about.
comic, they just have an opinion I don't agree with.
They can fuck off.
I'm trying to have less confrontations
But I understand.
in my life here.
Comedy is supposed to challenge ideas, not follow a script approved by self-righteous Twitter activists. Yet, there is a growing trend of comedians trying to be the moral police, deciding which jokes are acceptable and which ones are problematic. If comedians start censoring themselves to fit political correctness, then what's left? Safe, bland, forgettable jokes that won't offend anyone but also won't make anyone laugh. At the end of the day, if a joke is funny, it is funny. The audience decides. Not outrage mobs, not social media, and definitely not other comedians who forgot that the whole point of comedy is to make people laugh, not make them comfortable. So what do you think? Do you agree with Bill Burr's take? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more best moments from your favorite comedians.